Hey, Marty Favorite, World War II. And I have one question for you that I've asked 3 other gentlemen that are running. What will you do with the Federal Reserve? I will not give you my opinion on it. I'd like to hear what you have to say. Thank you.
Here's what I would do with the Federal Reserve. Some people believe that we should end the Federal Reserve. I believe we can fix the Federal Reserve because the Federal Reserve is doing things that when I served on the board of the Federal Reserve, I and the other directors along with Alan Greenspan never would have conceived of doing. The reason that the Federal Reserve is devaluing the value of our dollar is because, number one, of a $14 trillion debt. And number two, when the Treasury Department can't sell Treasury notes to foreigners, incorrectly the Federal Reserve is providing a backstop. Another reason that they're doing this, which I don't agree with, is that they're trying to use monetary policy to control unemployment and monetary price stability. That's impossible. You cannot shoot one arrow and hit 2 targets. That's what they're trying to do. But the United States Congress has the ability to refocus the Federal Reserve on their original mission that they had in 1913 when they were founded. That's what I think we need to do in order to fix the Federal Reserve.
Thank you for your answer. That's the best one I've gotten yet.
Hi, Herman. Dave Christek, Vietnam veteran.
Hello.
I studied economics in college, and one of the things we learned is that the Federal Reserve was, another Fed question, but they were instrumental in monetary policy that destroyed the banking system. And I am very concerned over the Fed right now with all the quantitative easing programs that they have currently in place. And I'm very concerned over a possible QE3 that might start up this summer. I wanted to get your opinion on that.
Well, thank you. As I've indicated, I'm not in a position to stop them from doing a QE3, and I don't agree with this. I don't agree with a lot of the policies of the Federal Reserve. But I would like people to go back and look at all of those decades where the Federal Reserve did its job, including the decades of the 90s. I don't agree with QE3. I didn't agree with QE2. That's the problem. Okay? That is the problem. And that problem was precipitated because when this administration and the Democrats increased the national debt $4 trillion in 2 years, they put themselves in that box. They put themselves in that box. And so what I'm saying is, as president, I never would have allowed that much spending to have happened in the first place.
Thank you.
John Palmer from Strongsville.
Yeah, John?
I'd like to know whether you would reject and refuse to comply with UN mandates that would cede U.S. sovereignty, especially in regard to our constitutional rights, like the right to bear arms, own guns, individual rights on that, free speech, and the U.S. laws, and of course being supreme in this country, not listening to the UN or other countries' laws.
I am a 100% believer in the United States of America's sovereignty, and any law, rule, resolution, or whatsoever coming out of the United Nations that would threaten our sovereignty, I would be against it absolutely.
I am eager to know if it's possible, and it is possible in this nation, everything is possible. I would like to see the states have control of the educational system so we have adequate competition between and among the states rather than having a national directive that where control is out of control.
Here is how I describe my position on education. First of all, a good education starts at the local level with parents, teachers, and local administrators, not from Washington, D.C. I plan to, quote-unquote, unbundle the Department of Education, which means I'm going to start with any programs where the federal government has imposed unfunded mandates on states and local communities because they are waiving a few dollars. We are going to either eliminate those programs or allow the states to decide how they use them, and over time, we're going to get the federal government out of the business of education at the state and the local level. Did you say apple pie? That's one of my favorites.
That's a favorite from Pastor Ernie Sanders in this area.
Yeah.
And also, Newt Gingrich got a piece of my apple pie.
Don't forget about me.
Hello, Herman. That's a tough act to follow. I'm Al Bodo, the chairman of the candidate screening committee for our Cuyahoga Valley Republicans. Thank you for appearing before us and speaking to us. And my question deals with what is your energy policy, especially when in regards to states like Ohio, where you have large resources of natural gas under Lake Erie and large deposits of coal in the southeastern part of the state that has severe unemployment.
My energy vision. You know, there's a lot of people talk about policy plans, but I talk about my vision. And the difference is, I want the United States of America to become energy secure and independent of dependent upon countries that don't like us. Now, here's a fact. The fact is, if we look at all of our oil, coal, shale oil, and natural gas that we control, we could become energy secure and on the road to independence. And in order to do that, I'm working on a plan to determine how we remove excessive regulatory barriers. That's the only reason we don't have a better energy independence plan, because of the regulatory barriers. And when President Obama went to Brazil and owned Brazil $2 big, and then told them America is going to be their best customer. Let me tell you what the Cain doctrine is. America is going to be its own best customer. Unveil an energy security independence plan really in the very near future, even before we get to the Republican nomination. Because here's one thing about me that a lot of people don't realize. I'm not waiting until I get elected to start sharing my ideas and solutions with the American people. That's what I would do. I've already rolled out my economic vision for America to create jobs. It was documented in my commentary, which you can find at my website, hermancain.com. And I've done 2 installments on that vision, and then next week I'm going to do a 3rd installment on that economic vision for America. In the very near future, I'm going to be rolling out my energy vision for America that talks about how we take the natural resources we have, lower the regulatory barriers that are preventing things that we have here in this country so we can reduce our energy dependence. The other reason that I am so focused on that issue is because energy independence is not just an economic threat, it is a national security threat. And I believe in lowering that threat by maximizing all of the resources we have right here at